Welcome to the Center of Influence podcast, the place for breakthrough conversations with experienced business partners like you. It's time to optimize your center of influence. Let's talk.
What's up, and welcome back to the COI podcast. This is Nick Gentile here again with John DeFreitas, and we are very excited to introduce you to my friend, Bobby Davis from Robert Davis Construction. Bobby, how's it going, man?
Good, guys. How you guys doing today?
Doing real good. Doing real good. Thanks
Good.
for coming on, and looking forward to talking to you, man.
Yeah, likewise.
So
Thanks for having me.
we typically start off with kind of a background, like how you got to what you're doing today, what you did before. I know you've got a pretty cool story of how you got into doing the work that you're doing today. So give us the rundown, man. Tell us how you got here.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, it would from where I'm at now to where I started would make zero sense to how I got here, based on the timeline of events. But so I started painting my first job in the summer. A lot of kids around here either went to do like minor construction work or they were, out in the cornfields shucking corn or whatever. So I opted to be a painter at age 14. So that was it was a pretty legit little gig that I started off with and kind of got familiar with painting, drywall, just your basic trade work essentially. And then jumped into the restaurant industry after that, or I should say in conjunction with that, I was painting and working in restaurants. To then when I graduated high school, went to Parkland, got my associates in business, and then decided that I wanted to pursue one of my hobbies of being a hairstylist. Ended up going to cosmetology school, did that, and which is really unique. But I was still painting and doing jobs like that. Did that, pursued that for a little while, ended up really not really caring for it. I was wanting to become specialized in being a barber, given like, hot towels, straight razor shaves, that whole experience that I think is finally coming back around now, where you can get those in some shops. But so stopped doing that. Threw in an application at a bank when I was like 20 and ended up landing a job there. Climbed through the ladder there of different roles, played several different roles there, and decided to leave that career path and pursue my original career of construction and trade work, which for the last 15 years I've always had a little side gig doing that, and I just started to pursue it full time. So beauty school, restaurants, and a bank led me to say, hey, I'm going to start a construction company. So
That's, like I said, it's a good story in a roundabout way. You kind of figured it out. And when you finally dropped the beauty school thing, that was a big deal for me, because John doesn't know this, but Bobby was my barber for a handful of years. So you kind of left me out to dry there when you decided to throw your scissors away. That was kind of messed up.
Yeah, man. You and like all my siblings, they're all still mad at me because it was always just fun and it was convenient for everybody. But
yeah,
something I had to drop to focus on. So
you were good at it too. Well, you're primarily based in the Champaign County area. Expanding a little bit outside of that space, but what kind of work do you do day to day?
So right now my business is we focus and specialize in finish carpentry, which is essentially any woodwork that you see in your house, like casework, millwork, which is cabinetry, doors, baseboard trim, crown molding, wainscoting, anything that you can think of that has a wood finish detail, we specialize in. So right now we're working on, I've got two projects going on right now. One is a multifamily housing property with 106 units, and we're doing all the finished carpentry there. and another project on the U of I campus, which is 113 unit student living, which we're doing all the finished carpentry in there as well.
Got it.
So my day to day looks like basically bouncing back and forth between two projects that are 20 minutes or so apart, and
hence why you're doing your work out of a truck right now, is that's your office.
Yeah, this is my lunch break, so I'm like, I'm gonna hop back and forth, check on my other job, and get back to it. But my day to day is I am in the field, I would say 80% of the time. The other 20% spent managing other people and I do all of my own accounting work, marketing, meeting with new customers, stuff like that.
So was there someone that led you to get back into this career, was encouraging you to do that, or did you just say, I'm just going to do it?
It was that's a good question, John. It was mid-pandemic, and I was like, kind of like, everybody's got that funk going on, and you're just, everybody was feeling down, and it really kind of twisted my brain a lot more than I feel like a lot of the people around me, that made me want to be like, hey, I want to go out and do something that's fulfilling to me. And not that there was nothing wrong with my previous job. It was just something for me personally. Unfortunately, I had a death in the family of someone who I really looked up to, and he was a business owner as well. And so I just, I was like, I'm going to try to carry on that family legacy. And I jumped in with the support of my cousin who ended up taking over our family painting business, which has been around for almost 20 years now. And jumped ship with him. He's been a big business coach to me, really helped me get my feet on the ground and get running, meeting some people too. So I would say that unfortunate event led to me making this big decision with the support of close family.
So those people that you had to get in front of, were those just different tradespeople that you need to bid on the jobs that they're doing, or do you need to go, who are you making your relationships with, basically?
So I try to make a close relationship with job site superintendents, the people I make that I'm going to have the most interaction with. My first large commercial job that I got was actually from a conversation that started kind of randomly in a garage. Like I said, my cousin's got a painting business in town, and I was helping him with that. And I was talking to the superintendent on the job that we were painting at, and I was like, hey, I do finished carpentry. I've heard you guys are kind of short on that. And then I would say 3-4 months later, I'm sitting at a pre-construction meeting selling my trim and door package to this client that we've been with for a few years. And so my networking on a day-to-day basis isn't posting on Facebook. It's not going door to door, reaching out to clients. It's more or less me engaging with the existing general contractors that I'm doing work with that eventually will lead to more work. And then engaging with the other foremen and owners, subcontractors on that job. Because if they understand what you do and they enjoy working with you, then they're likely going to refer you whenever one of their customers mentions something.
So what would you say is some challenges that you've had to overcome with starting up a business for yourself?
I kind of at the time was the unsurety of, as mid-pandemic, I was like, I just can't do this anymore. And kind of overcoming the hurdle of not being confident at the time. At first, I had a good plan, but I just kept reverting back to am I going to fail? Because, this is a weird time to do this. But it actually worked out it worked out pretty well. The first few clients I got were people that were working at home, and they were like, the paint on our walls is driving us crazy. We need to update, we need to refresh. And it was just kind of like a a blessing in disguise that was going on at the time with people working from home. But other than that, there's not really been any significant, anything too significant that I've had to overcome, just other than, shaking the dust off at first and getting out there and get my feet on the ground. So I did, one of our guys did bust a sprinkler head one time on a job. That was kind of catastrophic, but it was fixed. It was fixed in 30 minutes. So
there you go.
I'm very transparent, but that was a mistake that we were able to fix pretty quickly. So luckily we've got very handy, skilled people on our team that can do a little bit of everything.
What would you say your biggest surprise has been with running your own business, whether it be positive or negative?
I think my biggest surprise is the people, the people that I engage with want someone that's like just genuine, like as genuine as possible. Which I love, because my customers, I can speak to them however I want, like not like speak down to them, but like we can just, shoot the breeze, as you will.
Yeah.
And it's really cool, coming from, customer service focused environments where it's, not that you're not being yourself, but there's like a level of, there's an extra layer of professionalism and, that you have to put on that maybe you wouldn't always feel like putting on. So it's just kind of a breath of fresh air that I can go into work, and however I am that day is who I'm able to be every day.
Right.
And it's just,
John
it
calls
feels
that
good.
wearing a costume.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's fine. It does take a toll on you, over time. And it's just a big breath of fresh air for me.
I think a big part of it is if the costume that you're being forced to wear in your job is much different than the one that you just naturally, organically have, that will weigh on you pretty heavily.
For sure. And I went from drinking, we'd go to like a fancy restaurant for like a work event, and everybody's drinking like these high-end cocktails, and I'm like, give me a Natty Light that I can just throw back, like Natty Light or Budweiser in a can, whatever, I'm good.
Yep. That makes perfect sense. And that the difference well, because you went from a banker to what you're doing now. So it's a big jump. One of the things that we talk about on this podcast pretty extensively with us having a name like Center of Influence are people or organizations that influence the folks that we have come on. I'm lucky today because I've got two of my mentors here with me. Both you and John both have been mentors to me at different parts of my career. And is there anybody that's been that person for you, or is there anything that's really influenced you to get to where you're at today?
It's funny you mentioned me as being one of your mentors. Us working closely together, that was a big deal for me, because you kind of like stepped in and like helped refresh like my attitude and gave me a new perspective. So I'm going to shout out Nick Gentile, one of the hosts of this podcast, and just, like you gave me a fresh motivation at my career. And I would say with you and my very first supervisor at the restaurant, his name was Brian, and Brian was a huge role model for me. He really helped me kind of learn how to be empathetic with people and be just a overall good leader,
Mm-hmm.
And that was huge for me. My cousin, he's a big motivator for me too. Like he gives me a lot of really good advice, and just very brutally honest.
So even though you had experience in your career that are just wildly different from one another, I had an employee one time that she told me, I don't want to work at a bank anymore. But she was being miserable. She was being rude to people, customers, her coworkers. And we had to have a discussion about using the opportunity she has now to learn so that when she goes to her next opportunity, she can maybe get some skill set, something that she can build on from this to take it to the next job. So in your career, with the wild differences, right? What are some of the things that maybe you learn from the different areas that help you now, or that you feel like, man, I'm glad I had that experience?
That's a really good question. One of the biggest things I would say for my most recent career working at a bank was it gave me a lot of really good like business acumen. I became pretty familiar with the ins and outs of how a business operates, and being able to review financials. It just gave me a really good idea of how to be solid and create a good foundation for a business. But one of the softer skills that I learned was just providing like superior customer support, like just being a genuinely good person and giving a crap about your customers. That's a big deal because they really do feel that. And I would say when I was working in the restaurant, working at a bank and working at a restaurant, like there's two things I learned. Like the two worst or most difficult customers you can deal with are hungry people and people that are in a tough financial situation. So you kind of learn to overcome all of those challenges. And now it's just the only people I deal with now are people that are, concerned about their home and or their commercial environment. But I don't really deal with too many angry people because it's not really there's no reason for people to be upset, unless you pop a sprinkler head. So that'll get some weird looks, but yeah, that, and then working in, when I was doing the beauty school stuff, that was like just a different skill set there. Like you learn how to make people feel like very comfortable with you and willing to, you're literally engaging with this person, like physically, like, so you got to really know how to make people feel comfortable and make them feel confident that you're going to be the right person to deal with them. Mm-hmm. So yeah, key takeaways from each business.
Sounds like it.
Oh yeah. Especially the bank. That was, as you guys both know, that you deal with some very, very interesting people on a daily basis.
John just got yelled at this morning. This is
Did you?
He hadn't even finished his coffee yet.
That can be a daily occurrence sometimes. We all deal with really good people and really good customers. And sometimes those people have a bad day and nobody likes to take that out on each other, but it happens from time to time. And then you just have individuals that you don't really jive with personally, and you wish you didn't have to deal with them, and they probably feel the same way, but you have to make the best of it, give the best customer service you can. It's the same thing in a restaurant too. I can't imagine somebody comes in, they're having a bad day and they're starving and their kids are going nuts. You got to give them extra.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure. And you learn, that's how you build those relationships, is you flip that negative experience for them and, give them something positive to walk away with for the day. So.
Absolutely.
So what's the future? What do you want to do? Finish trim the rest of your life, or is there big plans for your business or different areas you want to dabble in?
So my 5-year plan right now is definitely to just stay in that finished carpentry space and continue to do that, because I genuinely enjoy it. And I think we want to get more into some more detailed trim work. Like if you've ever walked into like an old museum, and you see these like coffered ceilings and just these beautiful intricate woodwork designs, I definitely want to dabble in that space eventually, because that is a dying art. And it's something that I think if my company can get good at in the next 5-10 years, then that's something that would be cool to be able to provide, kind of like a niche business there. But really any cosmetic finishing in the home, I guess, is something that we're definitely interested in pursuing. We just recently, in the last 6 months, actually started doing, like, it sounds really simple and silly, but doing bathroom fixtures for people. So we started, which we didn't offer before, but one of our clients came to us and was like, hey, we're really short on this. You guys have drills and hammers and levels with you already. Like, would you guys be interested in doing this? And I was kind of like hesitant at first, but then there's actually a pretty good market for it. So like when you walk into a bathroom, you've got your like your towel bars and like hooks, and you know what I'm talking about, all the finishings. So offering that, countertops we've dabbled in with some homeowner jobs, and then flooring. So flooring is a big one that we're potentially dabbling in on larger projects. But we want to make sure we have a good system in place before we start bidding on those jobs. Prior to accepting these finished carpentry contracts, we came up with a really, really good system for our manpower level, and we're able to accomplish these projects with a pretty good process flow. So I want to make sure that we have that ready for any future projects that we offer at that scale. So it all depends on the scale in which we're going to accept this work.
You ever have to tell contractors no, like that's outside of our scope, or that's too big for us, or I mean, any scenarios where that comes up?
Oh yeah, all the time. I have people ask me in this area a lot. I don't know why, but a lot of people ask me about foundation jacking, like their floors are out of level, and they're like, hey, we need, go into our house and shim up the floors. I'm like, that's not really, I say no to those every time because it just seems like a nightmare. So I refer, but never say no and then don't come up with a solution for them. That's always been my thing, is because if you're my customer and you're coming to me for advice, like I'm going to be like, no, I can't do that for you, but I know a guy, you know what I mean? Kind of thing. Yeah. So, or gal. So yeah, it's, feel free to say no. I mean, saying no to your customer is probably one of the most important things you can do, because if you don't have faith in yourself that you can do that and you take it on and you screw it up, that could be a disaster.
Yeah. So that's exactly what being a center of influence is. When you become that trusted advisor to your customer, and they come to you for something that they need help with, but they don't know how to get that, but they know that hopefully you do. Right. So it's saying no, but I know a guy, or I can connect you to somebody, or, this is how you should do that. And that trusted advisor role can be, people always think of just like a lawyer or an accountant, but I mean, there's all types of people who are trusted by their customers to help them with different things.
Right.
Oh, exactly. And the day you stop caring enough to give them those recommendations is probably the day that you should hang it up and figure something else out. So, and I love that, having those good relationships with those customers really, you really meet some really cool people, and not even just from like a business perspective, but like, you can meet people that you might go fishing with, hang out with. So
I'm interested, is there, I'm kind of a technology guy. Is there any technologies that you've seen come on the scene that's been able to help your business, either with the back end side of things, or even just your day-to-day operations, tools, any innovations that you guys are excited about?
Oh yeah. They actually came out with this thing called the typewriter. It's pretty sweet. We just picked that up. No, there's a lot of really cool programs out there. There's this app that we use. It's called Procore, and Procore is an app that from top to bottom will basically help the process flow for any construction project. So you can share in this app, you can share blueprints, you can share specs, you can submit any change order reviews. There's like contact lists. There's process flow, like a Gantt chart process flow that will give you like, here's the next steps kind of deal. And the thing I like the most about it is whenever we're getting down to a punch list item, traditionally speaking, a punch list would be a piece of paper that a general contractor will hand you. And now it's like a task that's assigned to your profile, and you go in, you can take pictures of that task and be like, hey, this is proof that it's completed. And then it gets closed out for review, and then the contractor goes in and verifies that it's done. So it helps people engage with each other too, in a very organized format, which
So you
I
guys
like.
all have to use that same program then?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So was that
We do.
something that they wanted you to implement, or how is everybody getting on the same page with that?
Well, that's kind of just like the standard in the industry now is at least in this area, all of the large general contractors that I work for use this program. So I can flip back and forth between different general contractors. I can flip back and forth between projects, my own projects, and it's a really helpful tool. So other than that, I mean, there's nothing really that I use on a day-to-day basis. It's outside the ordinary, like obviously I have a computer and smartphone, but some guys don't though. I do have a few people that do have flip phones still, and that's not a joke. That's a real thing.
What about what's your favorite tool brand?
Oh God, this is a tough question. So if you look at my tool belt right now,
this is gonna be documented.
Yeah,
too,
guys
all the time.
Contractors are gonna judge you by this, but go ahead, it's fine.
Oh, so for me, I would say my brand preference is DeWalt. So yeah, rough crowd here. But I do have some tools that like I do have some Rigid and Milwaukee tools as well. It's people that are loyal to a tool brand, like shout out to you guys, like I get it, but like there are tools within different brands that are just like they don't compare. Like my Rigid nail gun is 100 times better than the Milwaukee or DeWalt nail gun.
Yeah.
Like, and it's half the price. So
what about all the batteries and the different
that's what it gets expensive. It's expensive. You're talking at least $150 for just like a little battery, like just a small battery and it adds up quick.
A different battery, different charger for everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we usually stock up on Father's Day. So that usually they have the best sales around Father's Day. And there's some cool little tricks that the home stores do that I actually found on a TikTok that I've started kind of looking at closely, but basically it has to do with the way that they price their sales. The last number on that sale, let's say it's something $16.99.96, and that 6 being that last digit will tell you that product is 6 weeks out from being taken off the shelves. So, and then so if it has a 3 on it, then you've got 3 weeks until it goes off the shelf. So the lower the number, that means that typically the product is like that's like the lowest it's going to get. So if something ends in like a 6, wait a few weeks, it'll get lower. So
nice.
Cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I have mostly Bosch right now, but I've been watching these Milwaukee pack outs, and it just seems like a way to steal all my money, but it looks like some pretty nice stuff.
Oh, it's nice. I would say most contractors have the Milwaukee, the pack outs, but I've got the DeWalt Tough system, which I think is really nice. But Bosch is a good brand. It really is. If you're not even I know some full-fledged contractors that use Bosch. I've got Bosch laser levels and digital measuring tapes.
Yeah.
Like they're definitely the leading brand in my opinion for lasers.
There you go, John. Laser expert.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm just a homeowner, but I like tools. So, you go to Home Depot and you stare at the tools, and my boys are trying to constantly talk me into buying stuff. So.
Oh yeah.
And I'm too cheap. So once I bought that first Ryobi tool, man, that's it. I can't. They They
Nick's a
got
big
me.
Harbor Freight guy.
Say that
Yeah,
again.
no, it's
Nick's a big Harbor Freight guy, I said.
oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Chicago
Yeah.
Electric.
No, as somebody who has seen Bobby cut tiles with a Harbor Freight tile saw, it was like, I mean, we were dodging glass bullets in that garage that day. It was bad.
100%.
So
That
I'm out
that
on
was-
Harbor Freight.
Yeah, that was a great experience.
That was. Bobby also builds bars, by the way. He built my bar. Pretty impressive.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw pictures of that. Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
So little bit of everything.
Yeah,
So-
we do. We're getting into that like custom furniture space. Nick's was a prototype. We're gonna have better ones in the future.
Nice. So we're running on 30 minutes here. We want to be mindful of your time. Just wanted to ask if there's anything that you could help business people or people who want to start their own business. What would you say? What's a little piece of advice for them?
I would say a few things. Don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're ever backed into a corner and you feel like you're in a position where you feel like you might, you might fail, then definitely ask for help. YouTube, TikTok, huge resources. Like as silly as that sounds, well, not silly because YouTube's been around forever, but TikTok is a phenomenal source for contractors just sharing free, endless information. And if you're wanting to get in the contracting space, that's a great resource to have. But if you're wanting to start your own business, definitely make sure you've got you're in a good financial position. Like it took me several months of planning to get to that point to where whenever you leave, you have to decide that, you have to make the decision that you're leaving a steady paycheck to work for yourself. And it does get expensive, but if you're prepared, then it's definitely a lucrative opportunity.
Yeah, Nick actually learned how to do commercial loans on TikTok, so it's still a valuable resource.
Actually, surprisingly enough, despite the large age gap between John and I get all my TikTok updates from him.
Yeah, but I'm like a good old guy. I watch him on Facebook, so
there you go.
Well,
hilarious.
Bobby, let everybody know how they can get a hold of you, man.
Yeah, my phone number is the best way. Shoot me a call or text. 217-722-4827. That's my personal direct cell phone number, which I use for business as well. Feel free to call or text me. We do offer free estimates within an hour and a half vicinity. So, like I'm located here in Champaign, so if anybody needs an estimate, or just give me a call.
Awesome.
Sounds
Except
good. We know
don't call me Nick.
No, I won't. I've deleted your number actually. So
Perfect.
We know you're transitioning with some of your links and things like that. So we'll touch back with you when we're going to post this so that we can get that information updated on there.
Cool. Sounds
awesome,
good,
man.
guys. I definitely appreciate the opportunity. So
yeah. Thank you very much for coming on. It's been fun talking to you, and thanks for taking the time to share your story with everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Likewise. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks.
All right, folks. Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys all in the next one.
There will be no next one because you've
This is
let
it.
everybody down, Nick.